You are going to die, and so am I. And for obvious reasons, we don't really want to talk about that or think about that so much. So it's just one of those things, It's terrifying to and incomprehensible to try and consider a time where you and everything you perceive as you, you know, your body, your mind, your conscious ability, whatever we are, a time where none of that exists in just any way, shape, or form. And we, or I, become a completely devoid, absent force from this universe is something we don't want to think about, and we tend to try our hardest not to think about. But we have to recognize it. We have to reckon with it. And I'm not going into in-depth so much about that now. The big thing I want to talk about is other people. Other people don't want you to recognize your own mortality. Other people don't want you to know or to think about or to consider the fact that you are going to die. And in practice, you do the same to other people. Subconsciously, we can't blame people so much so for this. It's inexcusable, but it's explained. When we forget that we're gonna die in front of other people, we start doing what other people want us to do. We start falling into their hand, practically, and being played. We allow ourselves to be played and to be used and to be molded into someone else's something when we can't realize that we are just the same finite thing as them. We put value in them and forget our own. We pursue their projects and neglect our own. Because it's easy to see, the finiteness of something else, of someone else, to look at and in someone and say, yes, this thing is a time bomb. It only has a limit, but we neglect recognition of ourselves as that exact same thing, and we put other people who are actively trying to convince us that they're the only finite thing, and we are not, and we don't realize the same ourselves, but we're also trying to convince other people that we're gonna die. In not in as much, full frontal phrases as that. It's a lot more subtle in practice, but it is that in theory that when we're not dealing with perceiving our own mortality and then taking that into account when assessing our value in compared to other people's value, which is exactly equal, that there's no difference between any person for any reason, and we sit here and forget that, and we sit here and we take for granted this period that we have, that you specifically have, and spend it on succeeding or pleasing other people, because you can't believe what you believe about them, about yourself. And when it's about yourself, it's always in a deeper context, because you are making the decisions, and decisions made by you for you are going to have a deeper impact than decisions made by you for others, because the decision made for you by you only goes through you, but the decision made by you for someone else has to go through some other contingent sort of setting and interval, which is the other person and whatever may stand between you, and that lessens the blow of any impact. So it really is, a way that we learn to live by wasting potential through ill recognition. We don't learn and we don't progress. We just waste time in order to feel comfortable and as if we're being comforted and comforting. You need to know and you need to understand what you have and what you are and what you will have and what you won't be. Because any day, any point, and definitely at some time, you will be gone. You know, why waste time? Why waste energy on others when it neglects yourself, if that makes sense? And I'm not saying, go out there and completely abash everybody else. I'm saying, look to yourself, know yourself, before you start working under others, before you sell yourself short, and before you sell yourself full stop.